Hear from our mentors, borrow a journey and discover your own. This is the TUC Homegrown Project, our EduVenture Human Library series. Today we are joined by Dan Anderson from Max FM. Dan's going to share with us his journey, his pathways and the skills he's used to get to where he is today. Hi Dan, thanks for joining us today for our Human Library.
Thanks for having me.
Dan, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about what does your work life look like for today?
4 a.m. starts at the moment, but I get to do what I love to do. So I'm in the office early before anyone else. I get to be waking up the community as they start to go about their day. And that's a privilege, I think, for me. The downside of that is that I have to be awake and sound awake at 6 o'clock in the morning when everyone else is just getting out of bed. But certainly for me, get to do what I love and get to communicate some fabulous things that are happening in our community.
Excellent. And what was your pathway? How did you find yourself in radio?
It was a bit of a circular pathway, really. I started my career straight out of uni in radio, and then from there I sort of went a non-traditional path, really. I went into TV and corporate communications and PR, and then back into radio. So it's been an interesting journey along the way, but it's given me a great skill set that allows me to put all of that together and bring it to what I do now.
Excellent. And what did you study at university?
I studied Bachelor of Social Science in Media Studies, but along the way I've also studied a Graduate Diploma of Journalism, Master of Arts in Communications and a Diploma of Leadership as well. So bringing all of those together helps what I do in terms of my other roles within the station as well.
Excellent. What are some of the other roles within the station?
So the other things that I do mainly, I look after the website, social media, and do a few other things as well. So I have been in previous roles sort of more heavily involved in not necessarily technical aspects, but operational aspects, troubleshooting computers and things like that as well.
Excellent. So, and what are some of the skills you need to be in a job like yours?
I guess these days, multitasking is key. So really having some other skills that you can bring to the job. Most people just see what I do as just sitting behind a microphone, playing Britney Spears or whatever it might be. But really there's so much more that goes into that technical. You got to be good with computers, you got to be good with people, you got to be able to communicate well, you got to be able to think on your feet. So really having those skills as well. You've got to be able to work out quickly. If you need to make changes quickly to the program, you need to work out, can I do this or can I do that? So you need to be able to really sort of think on your feet and be able to make quick calculations in your head, I guess. So there's a lot that goes into it. And communication skills, good grammar, things like that. So.
Yeah, great. And what is it that you love about it? What do you love about hosting radio?
I think for me, as a kid, I was the kind of kid that grew up playing radio stations, building radio stations out of Lego and things like that. Being a bit of an introvert, it allows me to express myself creatively without necessarily having to stand up in front of a crowd. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. Plus it's just something that I've always loved and always really wanted to connect with, and I felt that it was kind of my calling, if you like.
Yeah, it's great. It's interesting to hear yourself describe yourself as an introvert when you're on radio, so it's good for kids to hear that.
People often ask me about that, and I think there's a lot of introverts that work in radio because we're performing but we're not on a stage. I might be talking to 90,000 people every day, but the one thing you're taught when you go to radio school is you're talking to one person, you're communicating one-on-one. So I'm just having a chat with, my best mate or whatever it might be. So that's the key thing, I guess, for me. And that's how I sort of overcome any of those nerves. And it really means, I guess, I get to go in, I perform, but I don't feel like I'm performing in front of an audience, even though I've got, so many thousands of people listening to me.
Yeah, great. And how do your personal values, how are they represented in your work?
Yeah, I think you've got to work hard in radio. Radio is about working hard to get where you want to be. And if you put in the effort, you're driven, you can get to where you want to be. And I think for me, I'm a bit perfectionist, probably the wrong word, but I like to do a good job. Okay. And radio allows me to be creative at something that I'm good at. And so I can go home at the end of the day knowing that I've had a good day because I've done the best that I can, and I've had a bit of fun on the radio playing music and things like that. So I really enjoy that, and I think that aligns with my values. Community too, because a lot of what I can do is promote community events or talk to members of the community and bring them into the studio to talk about what's happening in our part of the world. And I think for me that allows me to connect with the community, or the community to connect with me. Yeah,
fantastic. And Dan, if you could give one piece of advice, what would that be?
I think for anybody trying to get into radio today, you've got to work hard. You've got to be prepared to put in the effort and really work your way through. You might have to go and work somewhere in the bush somewhere, a small country market. But eventually, if you're driven enough and you want to work your way towards metro radio, then you will hopefully get there. But certainly, persistence is the key, and really working towards it and taking advice. If you apply for a job and you don't get it, don't take that as a rejection. Take the advice. Ask the program director or the content director, can I have some feedback on what I've submitted to you? And take that advice and work with it.
That's great. Great advice. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.